we're seeing a couple new case studies come out that detail companies becoming what we would call AI emergent. Or these are existing firms that are reinventing their businesses with AI. The first case study details a partnership between Moderna and OpenAI to deploy ChatGPT Enterprise to thousands of employees across that company. According to OpenAI, quote, now every function is empowered with AI, creating novel use cases and GPTs that accelerate and expand the impact of every team at the company. They also say that within 2 months of ChatGPT Enterprise adoption, Moderna had 750 custom GPTs they had created across the company. 40% of weekly active users were creating GPTs, and each user had on average 120 ChatGPT conversations per week. Now, within Moderna, this is happening across literally hundreds of possible use cases across the business. They've got a GPT to review clinical data using some of the data analysis capabilities that ChatGPT has. They have GPTs that their legal team uses to summarize contracts, and they have GPTs that help employees get quick answers about internal policies at the company. Now, as we heard this, we also got an article that contained a detailed breakdown from Asana co-founder and CEO Dustin Moskovitz about how the company evolved to integrate AI into every aspect of their operations. That included building bots for feedback, for reviews, for sales and customer experience, and for content creation. So it sounds like Asana also took this kind of similar approach to Moderna, despite them being very different types of companies, in the sense that they empowered employees to go find their own use cases and build their own tools for their specific roles and needs. Moskovitz even details how everyone from SDRs to product marketers to HR professionals were able to actually identify high-value AI use cases in the company and build AI tools themselves to support their work. And he noted multiple times they often didn't really have significant technical backgrounds. So, Paul, this caught our attention for a few reasons. But first up, can you kind of maybe talk a little bit more about what we mean when we say AI emergent companies and why it's so important to be looking at these types of case studies?
Yeah, I was so excited to see this case study. I mean, I get like it's a case study from OpenAI. It's going to be obviously very favorable. It's
Mm,
certainly, adoption in enterprises isn't this seamless, but the whole point here is just to see the depth of commitment that was made to integrate AI. And I think it's a great representation of what organizations should be thinking about and pursuing. So going back to the AI emergent concept. So I wrote a blog post. We'll link to it in the notes. And I had to go back and look when I wrote this. It was May 16th, 2022. So set the stage to May 2022. Mid-Journey was a couple months old. We had Dolly had been previewed. I don't think it was readily available yet. Mike and I were finishing the manuscript for our book. So our book came out in summer of 22, the marketing artificial intelligence book. And we were, about 7 months prior to ChatGPT being introduced.
mm,
So that's kind of the stage we were at, but we were already seeing at that point, the inflection point was arriving, in our opinion, as to like, we really were going to have this future where, as I wrote, you were going to be AI or obsolete. And so I'll just like pull a few excerpts from that post because I think it's very relevant. And what we're now seeing is kind of these companies we envisioned are now coming to life. So in that post, I wrote, with each day that passes and each advancement in artificial intelligence, language, and vision technology is becoming more apparent that there will be three types of businesses in every industry: AI native, AI emergent, and obsolete. I keep running through examples in my mind. I said retailers, e-commerce shops, marketing agencies, media companies, law firms, medical practices, keep going. And I can't come up with an industry or business model where this won't be true. I went on to write, take any of these or your own business and simply look for inefficiencies in repetitive processes, opportunities to drive revenue through greater predictive models, such as customer acquisition, retention, and growth, and ways to unlock ideation and innovation through previously unattainable creative possibilities. You could later add the generative capabilities to that as those became readily available to people. And then in that post, we went on to describe AI emergent companies as established organizations that move quickly to adopt and scale AI across all areas of the organization. They have visionary leaders who see the rapid advancements in AI capabilities and invest the resources needed to build a smarter business. These emergent companies have expanding AI and machine learning talent pools. And at the time I referenced Adobe, for example, had 300 AI ML employees at that time, according to LinkedIn. They innovate faster than the competition, potentially through venture studios or R&D labs on building AI tech, and they excel at personalization across marketing, sales, and service. They have the data, customer bases, and infrastructures to withstand the AI native companies, so the startups that are building AI first, if they move fast enough to transform. Plus, they have the money to acquire the AI native companies before they grow to dominate. So that just sort of sets the stage of like going back to 2022, how we were looking at sort of the future of business. And then you fast forward to today with this Moderna example. And the thing I love about, I mean, I don't know if GPT-4 wrote the case study, but it's a really well done case study. Mike and I used to write case studies and things like
Yeah.
this for clients back in our, agency days. This is really well done because what I loved is they led with the why. So it said Moderna is using its platform for developing mRNA medicines to bring up to 15 new products to market in the next 5 years. In order to achieve its ambitions, Moderna has adopted a people-centric, technology-forward approach, constantly testing new technology and innovation that can increase human capacity in clinical trials. So they basically kind of lay out the fact that they're having this unparalleled growth opportunity. And at one point, they actually literally say that this would take thousands of people to do if they weren't using AI. So the CEO is quoted says, "We believe very profoundly at Moderna that ChatGPT and what OpenAI is doing is going to change the world. We're looking at every business process," and this part I love, "from legal to research to manufacturing to commercial, and thinking about how to redesign them all." So this is like, again, go back to the AI emergent definition. It's a visionary leader. Like you need someone who's looking out his head and saying, this isn't just like a marketing thing. This is an every function of the organization thing. And we're going to like aggressively push this. Then it went on to say that their objective was to achieve 100% adoption and proficiency of generative AI by all its people with access to digital solutions within 6 months. Quote, "We believe in collective intelligence when it comes to paradigm changes. It's everyone together, everyone with a voice, and no one left behind." Then they said they had individual change management initiatives, including in-depth research and listening programs, as well as trainings hosted in person, online, and with dedicated AI learning companions. They had prompt writing competitions to find the top 100 AI power users. They had local office hours with every business line and geography, with over 2,000 actively weekly participants. Structured change management initiatives, including engaging Moderna's CEO and executive committees. And then there was a quote in here from their chief information officer, Brad Miller, said 90% of companies want to do Gen AI, but only 10% of them are successful. And the reason they fail is because they haven't built the mechanisms of actually transforming the workforce to adopt new technology and new capabilities. This is exactly what we've been saying, Mike. Like,
Mm.
like people complain that it doesn't have the impact it should have, and the models aren't smart enough, or they make mistakes. And the thing we always say is, you're not thinking about this the right way. You're not properly training everyone. Like, you can't just buy the tool, give it to everyone, and think it's just going to happen. So they went on to say, you cited a couple of those metrics, but they said within 2 months, they had 750 GPTs,
Mm.
40% of weekly active users had created a GPT, and each user had 120 ChatGPT Enterprise conversations per week on average. And then there was a section, the final section on the cloud is this idea that said, a team of a few thousand can perform like a team of 100,000. And this is where the quote came from. Said, if we, with an ambitious plan to launch multiple products in the next few years, Moderna sees AI as a key component to their success. Quote, "If we had to do it the old biopharmaceutical ways, we might need 100,000 people today. We really believe we can maximize our impact on patients with a few thousand people using technology and AI to scale the company."
Mm.
So I don't know if anything else caught your attention, Mike, but this is like, again, the thing I keep saying and keep thinking when we talk to these big enterprises is like, This goes everywhere. It's every function of the business, and you have to be educating people first and foremost, and then you have to give them like the resources to actually explore what's possible with this technology and then encourage all this sharing. So I love everything about what they feature in this case study.
Yeah, like you mentioned, obviously it's never as seamless as it appears just operating on a single case study, but I think people would be wise to look at the numbers again. Look at how many conversations your average employee is having. If you are coming away dissatisfied from these tools because you had 3 or 4 conversations and it didn't cut it, they're having 120 per week. It's going to take hundreds of conversations to even begin to get towards what you want. Is that kind of what you took away from this in terms of not only the education piece, but people do need to actually invest a large amount of time and trial and error to get these tools to work well?
Yeah, it's viewing it as transformation, not just tool use. I
Mm,
think that's the companies that go in saying, we believe this is going to transform our workforce, our strategies, our technology stack, and we're going to approach it as such. We're going to put the right resources, we're going to build the right infrastructure, put the right governance in place, like not just go get 5 tools to be testing and hope people figure out how to get some value out of the $30 a month license that they're using. So, yeah, I think it's just the organizations that take that approach. And then you mentioned Asana. It is a different approach because they're coming at it most likely from a product first standpoint, because
mm.
Asana is a project management system platform, if you're not familiar. We're big fans. We've been using it since, God, I don't know. We started using it right before at the agency. So probably a decade or so been using Asana. We use it to run the Institute from a project management perspective. So Dustin Moskovich, who you mentioned, if people aren't familiar, he was actually one of the co-founders of Facebook, and then he left and founded Asana in 2018. You may see his name in the news otherwise because he's currently has beef with Elon Musk. Um,
Oh boy.
I will not disclose. Like, go check Elon's Twitter thread from Friday. I was messaging Mike when I was sitting at dinner. I was like, what happened? What did I miss? I was in a talk at Ohio University Friday afternoon, and Elon Musk put this really inappropriate tweet up about Dustin. And I was like, what happened? And Mike's like, man, I had no idea. So I found out what happened. There's been a lot of beef emerging between the two, but basically he said that Tesla is the next Enron, that the whole thing is a big scam. And Elon is basically just like selling this future vision of full self-driving that's never going to happen. And so he basically just called Elon out and said it was Enron. So Elon was not very happy with that. So Dustin in news for other reasons you may hear about. But back to Asana. So the way they're approaching it, similar thing. You have a CEO with a vision for how this is going to transform the company. So they're looking at it from a product perspective. But the thing I liked about this example is it was a letter from Dustin. So it was very clear that this is coming from the top. Um, and they're a company that has been investing in AI for a long time. Like we've talked about this before. AI isn't new. Like ChatGPT wasn't the beginning of AI. There were companies like Asana, like Salesforce, like Adobe that had hundreds of AI and ML engineers way before ChatGPT emerged. But they were working on machine learning. They were working on predictive models. They were making predictions about outcomes and behaviors that could be applied to like forecasting models and recommendation engines and optimization of pricing and like things like that and products. Well, what they're doing now is he's saying like, okay, we were already in AI, but now we're really in, and like we're really seeing the potential of generative AI, not just within our product, but within our own company. And so there was one point he said, internally, reactions to AI range from exhilaration to skepticism. We knew we needed to build literacy and hands-on experience to unite everyone around this transformation. Again, transformation, not just tools.
Mm.
So we launched an internal AI community and immersive workshops, encouraging all employees to tinker with the technology. We stood up Slack channels. We started evangelizing the power of AI through new internal use cases and stories of our personal breakthroughs at company all hands and in team meetings. And then it just goes on to say kind of how they got everyone involved. And they began to glimpse a future where AI moves beyond isolated chats to embedded contextual collaboration, kind of their own use within this. So definitely another one to just keep an eye on. They do say they have a work innovation summit on June 5th that we'll track,
Mm.
where they said, quote, we'll be showcasing the future of human AI teamwork. And then he ends with, together, let's build a future where every team has the power of AI at their fingertips, where human creativity and machine intelligence combine to solve the world's greatest challenges. and where work is not just more efficient, but more fulfilling, more impactful, and more profoundly human. That is like something I would have read. Like, that is exactly what we've been saying all these years. More intelligent, more human is the tagline we've been using. Um, so I love the vision. I love what they're trying to do. We're not using any of the AI features within Asana to my knowledge today. So, I think we need to probably dive back in and see if there's anything going on. Um, yeah, but certainly, two good examples today of just this whole vision of you got to have, it's got to come from the top. Like, you can be building your ad councils, you can be trying to lead within your department, but the companies that probably win here, it's going to come from the C-suite. You're going to have support from on high, and you're going to have a leader who has a vision to transform the organization over the next 5 years. Because I think that's probably the window of opportunity for most industries is you got 3 to 5 years to figure this out, basically.